Alright, this video is for my EE2325 microprocessors class, and this video is to demonstrate how to design a circuit board using the Nucleo board in Fusion360 because apparently Eagle is no longer being supported. So I'm going to walk through what I did in class, but with Fusion360 software. So I just started up Fusion360 and this is what it looked like when I started it. If you're starting Fusion360 for the first time, it might come up with some weird menus that ask you what you're interested in doing and whatnot, and just click on electronics until you get to something that looks like this. So okay, I'm going to say new schematic then to start a new schematic. So we'll start here. Okay, now I either need a 15-pin pin header for the Nucleo board or the Nucleo board itself. So I'll show you how to get the 15-pin header in there first. Over here on the right is all of the components that you have access to. So if I scroll down to pin head 1x15, and it might have multiple versions. Yeah, we just want this version. So I select this, double click. I can rotate that and put that in my schematic like that. Okay, now let's find some resistors. So I'm going to R comes after P. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down to resistor down here, and then I want to select a through-hole resistor, so I'm going to select this one. Double click, and it was pins 5 and 4 that I was going to use for that. Okay, now let's place some LEDs. I just got to scroll up until I find LED. Now that one doesn't have a footprint, so I need to go to, it just has a circuit symbol, so I got to find an LED with a usable footprint. Okay, I'm going to go with this one. That says it's a blue LED. I guess I can select blue, red, white, or yellow. Let's just go with red. So double click on this. I'll place 2 LEDs then in the circuit. Okay, now we have to find ground, so I'm going to scroll until I find the G's for ground. Here we go. So there's ground, and I can place 2 grounds right there. Alright, now I just need to connect everything with a net. So click on the net button and connect the components together. Now actually, if I remember correctly, the ground from the Nucleo board is pin 14. So I'm also going to connect the net to ground coming from pin 14. Okay, so my schematic is pretty much done based on the really simple board that I was doing in class. Now if I want to design the actual circuit board from this, I click up here on switch to PCB document. So it's going to switch to the circuit board layout for me with all the components. Okay, cool. Now I can click and drag that over here. If I want to rotate that, I can right click and select rotate a couple times. I think I can do it in that menu that's coming up there. Oops, I actually wanted only one rotation, so I'm going to do that. Cool. Now, I have to select done so that I can move this. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to move the other components as well. Resistor goes here. This resistor is going to go up here, and then the LEDs. Let's put this LED over here, and we'll rotate it a little bit. I want to rotate it more than that. And this LED, oops, I want to turn off the rotation tool. This LED goes here. I'm going to rotate this one as well. And let's see, you can do this in the menu up here too. Let me find 270. No, that didn't work. Okay, so there we go. All right, now let's, select view and zoom to fit. You can also press F6 to do that. Let's slim down the board a little bit. I can click and drag the board dimensions to get them a little bit closer to the components that I have. And let's zoom to fit again. Okay, so now I want to route my traces. So I'm going to go up here to the Route Manual button. That means you're manually routing the traces. You're not going to automatically route them. There is an automatic routing tool that you can use if you want to. It's up here. For these boards, you probably don't need it. So the only thing to make sure of here is that we need to put these traces on the bottom layer. So I'm going to select that up here in the top left, and we're going to make the traces fairly thick. So I'm going to select 40 mil for the traces. And we will connect these like this. And connect this one through to up here. And we're done. Alright, so now we just need ground planes to fill in all of this empty space so that the router doesn't have to route it out. So I'm going to go up here to Polygon, and I'm on the bottom layer, so I'm going to do a bottom layer polygon right now. So I just have to sort of trace the outline of the board like so. And then I can call this whatever I want. You can call it ground if you want the ground to be part of the ground plane. You can do that if you want. The problem with doing that is that making the ground plane so big makes it very difficult to unsolder things from ground. So just be aware that you might run into trouble. So I'm not going to make this a ground plane. I'm just going to make it a bob plane. I'm just calling it something random. And let's increase the isolation of that plane so that the distance between the traces and the ground plane is more than the width of a human hair. So I'm going to go to, let's say, 24 mil. Oh, actually, it's not going to let me do that right now. I need to right-click on the polygon, select Properties, and then go to Isolate 24 mil and click Apply. And now the width is thicker. So I want to do that on the top layer as well. So I'm going to go to Top, Polygon. Now I can put Bob in here as the signal. I can put Isolate 24 mil ahead of time, and I'm going to just draw a polygon around the outside of the board. And there we go. Alright, so if you were going to only use half of the Nucleo board, you could stop there, essentially. But let's go back to the schematic. You would click up here to switch back to the schematic. And let's use the actual Nucleo board schematic symbol and footprint instead of this 15-pin header. So I'm going to right-click on this and say delete. It's going to get rid of that. And so I need to import the Nucleo board library into this software, and I put the Nucleo board library on Canvas for you, so you should download that and probably have it in your downloads file or folder. and I can click Open Library Manager up here, and these are all of the libraries that you have access to. And then I need to import that library, so I'm going to click Import Library, Import from Local Disk, then click Downloads, and Nucleo L432KC, that's the Nucleo library. And now if you scroll down to the ends, you should be able to find the Nucleo right here, and it's checked in use, so it's available for use in your project. Alright, cool. So now we can scroll down to the ends and find the Nucleo right here. Double click on that, and we get the left half of the board, oh boy, and the right half of the board. Okay, let's put it over here. Now I click Escape to just get rid of that, otherwise you're going to be placing a second Nucleo board in there. Okay, so I want ground to be connected to the grounds on both sides of the Nucleo board, and I wanted these to be connected to pin A0 and pin A1. So I'm going to route this guy to the ground of this side of the board, and to, let's go over and around to the ground of this side of the board. This isn't very pretty, but it'll work okay for right now. And oops, we're going to route this line up here, and we're going to route this line to the second LED. Cool. Okay, so now when I switch back to the board, I'm going to have a Nucleo board on there. And I have a bunch of old stuff left over, so I want to get rid of all of that. Let's just get rid of the two polygons, so delete polygon pore, delete polygon pore, and let's delete these traces as well. Okay, so now we have the unroute option. So I'm going to delete all of these traces. Cool. Now I need a board that's big enough for the Nucleo as well, so I'm going to drag these dimensions out a little farther. Okay, so I'm just going to have to move all of these components a little bit. To make space for the Nucleo board, and then the Nucleo board goes here. And let's route all of these. Let's see, we got to be on the bottom layer. We got to have 40 mil trace width. That looks good. So let's get the grounds connected. Oops, I have, let's see, I have two of these swapped in their locations. Looks like. And when you route these, the air wires will disappear. And there we go. So the last thing to do now is to add the ground planes. So I click Polygon, I make an outline around the board. Oh my gosh. I'm going to call this Bob again. Okay, now I need to do a second polygon on top. And there we go. Okay, so the board is finished. And now I just need to export the files for manufacturing, and those are called Gerber files. Okay, I gotta save the file first. I'm gonna call this EE2325 example 1. Now I click on the CAM processor. Okay, all you have to do in here, you don't have to modify anything, just click export as zip, process job. It's going to export everything as a zip archive, and it's going to probably put it in your downloads folder. You just do that, and then you email me that zip file, and I can use that to drill out your circuit board. Okay, well, that's all for this video.